No one goes in, no one goes out. We are locked up. There is a pandemic. If you go out, you get sick. With that scenario in mind, my long-awaited degree project began. I spent 7 months locked up, and it was there, in the middle of a blurry dystopian reality, that a dream began to be woven. And I say a dream because being locked up 1,037 kilometers away, Adeinis Boscán, the leader of our Wayuu indigenous group, and I, Veronica, we started weaving. And that's a dream that I'm going to tell you about today. Adeinis and I met through a phone call. She was in the Rancheria La Estrella in La Guajira, Colombia. And I was in my home with my mom, my dad, and my dog, Pancho, in Bogotá. And there, locked up, and through WhatsApp messages, stickers, gifts, audios, and messages, we started talking. I told her about my mom, Jimena, about the delicious tomato soups she makes at nights. I told her about my grandmother, Mariela, the expert knitter. She told me about her childhood memories, about the little clay dolls she used to make with her grandmother, Macaira. She told me about her daughters, about Charley and Shirley, about their encierros, their confinements. When a Wayuu girl has her menarche, she is locked in a closed enclosure as a rite of passage, in which she transforms from a girl into a woman, in which, with the guidance of her mother and her grandmother, she becomes a woman. During the confinement, which sometimes lasts days or even months, it is Walekeru, the spider and goddess of weaving, who teaches her how to weave. And that's where we started in our conversation. My intention was to create with Adeinis a library of written, woven, and oral feminine stories that would register our feminine transformation. We discovered that despite being two very different women, there were some territories that we both shared. We worked with inspirational photos of her home, of my family, that guided the shapes, colors, and textures of our story, that allowed us to trace a common language, to understand each other. We defined 4 narrative spaces and undertook a simultaneous experimentation of textiles and texts, dyes and embroideries that happen here, weavings that happen there, words and sounds, her voice in Wayuu, which is her original language. Text and textiles traveled. For the textiles, we used the Pellón, a traditional male technique in which a needle goes in and out, going through the fabric. We worked with crochet, a technique that the Wayuu community learned from their arrival with the Spanish, but we created our own symbology. We work with the craft of the chinchorro loom. The amok is the space in which the Wayuu are born, and dye, it is the textile that cares, that shelters, that protects. We spun and knotted fibers and inserted in the weave a series of glass drops as a representation of tears, of absences, of the women who weaved before us. In the meantime, I also dyed and embroidered. I searched close to my home for dyes in order to give color to the cotton fiber and to the Colombian silk. I dyed 10 color palettes that came from home, from the lichen that grew in the bark, from the eucalyptus leaves that I found in the ground. This process gave shape to a series of 4 textiles that are read and that are heard. They are not only textiles, they are texts. They are the pages of a book. They all have a message inscribed on them. They are accompanied by a digital library where each piece has a corresponding soundscape, an invitation to listen the story behind its material, a sensory experience of textile. The first piece represents the dark and mysterious territory of dreams. The second is the writing of our meeting. It's the words we shared. The third is the body of a mother who cares, of a woman who supports her home. The last one is a tribute to our grandmothers. It is the spider's web, the invisible network that unites us as weavers. There was the pending when I did the project, to meet Adeinis in person. When the pandemic restrictions had been lifted, I finally met her. We kept weaving, we kept dreaming. Thank you for listening to my story and Adeinis' story.
Thank you so much, Veronica.